Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Amber with Amber Crafting, and I'm back with some planners. We're going to talk planners and journals because I have been on a huge bout of creativity and self-publishing, and I've got some planners that I'm really looking forward to start playing with as we're heading into the second half of the year. And July for me always means thinking about or reevaluating where I am in my planner for the year. How am I liking my setup? Will I continue in the same setup? What will I do at the end of the year going into the next year? A lot of the other planner companies are also coming out with their launches for the next years, and then I consider whether I will be purchasing anything new. So there's a lot to unpack and go over. What I have here are my planners that I've created and self-published on Amazon, and they're ready for you now. What I've done is make planners that I think that I would use based on what my planning style is. And if you have been with me for a while, you know that I have been in my B6 for a little bit over half a year now, since late last year, maybe August, September. And I absolutely love it. That's why I have created a B6 planner system for myself, a monthly planner. And if you saw my last video, you got a sneak peek on those B6 planners, so I'll show them today. And another size that I was thinking about getting into was the A6, and that's this little guy here. So without further ado, let me show you everything that I have. We'll talk a little bit about what my thought process was, and we'll take it from there. So here are the two stacks. I will move them out of the way, and I'll go through each of them. I think we'll start with the B6, because that is the planner system that I'm using and loving and am in right now. So I think that's a perfect place to start. So let's get right to it. The first book that I have, this is like, just a little composition notebook, and I thought it was really adorable. I didn't necessarily make this for myself, but I always have a little notebook with me in addition to my planner that I use as a lot of people have been using the term commonplace book, and I don't think it necessarily fits that phrasing or that definition. But what I do is I put notes in there of things that I've learned when I'm out and about, and so it's a little bit different than a brain dump. Like notes that I have, ideas that I have, I put them in my planner. I have my project planner for that, but I do need a notebook where in I guess the way my life and my schedule is set up, I do attend like a lot of speeches and talks and Zoom calls and things like that, and I am effectively learning something every day, and I have a small notebook for that where I record lectures, and I thought that a slightly bigger notebook format with just line pages would work for keeping those notes and continuing to keep those notes. As you can see, it would fit into my B6 planner if I wanted to go down that route. So that's what this is. I called it an exposition notebook, so just a little play on words, as opposed to composition notebook. And I did design this with a couple of different patterns, and it has 80 lined pages. The paper is really nice. It's kind of toothy, so I think it works really well with a ballpoint pen. maybe not necessarily a felt tip pen or one of those very juicy markers, because the paper is toothy. It's a little bit absorbent, so it might bleed it through to the other side. But with a ballpoint pen, it's perfect, and that's what I'm carrying with me, and that's why I made this notebook. Next, we'll go with so these are the rest of the B6s. I love affirmations and journaling. So I made a series of affirmation notebooks in both black and white. Like, I really liked this. Like, it's a very minimal, clean look, which is very much a departure from the way that I design and decorate my planners, but I do love trying new things, and so this is why I wanted to try doing like a more minimal theme. And these have affirmative sayings on them. This says, I'm really real. The next says, I am self-conscious. I love the person I'm becoming, and I'm in charge of how I feel today. These 4 notebooks are perfect for your daily journaling, specifically morning and evening reflections. What I've done here is, right at the beginning, you have, if found, please return this journal to. You would put your name and maybe some contact information. There's a little graphic, so it says 365 with a cup of either tea or coffee, your beverage of choice, and a cozy throw. Then I have a little letter inside. The letter says how to use this journal, and it has some information on how to use this gratitude journal, and a little bit of notes on how reflecting in the mornings and the evenings personally has positively impacted my life, and my recommendation for everyone to do it, quite frankly. Then we go into morning and evening pages, and there's a lot of pages, as you can see, so you can really get through a few months of journaling with this. On the morning side, you have a little grid, so you can say what the month and the day. You could put today's focus, I'm excited about, I'm grateful for, an affirmation, and then you would come back in the evening and talk about your top 3 highlights, how I felt, positive changes I made, and happy thoughts. And then you can do what I like to call a vibe check for the day, as well as record the weather, so you have just a little bit of memory keeping. And it's in a very small book, doesn't take a lot of space. I know that people do get overwhelmed with the thought of journaling on a huge 2-page spread, and a format like this I felt lent itself really well to maybe not even doing a full journal, but just jotting down some bullet points on things you'll work on and things that you'll focus on in the morning, and then some highlights and some memories in the evening. So that's how I designed this layout. And all of these, I'm calling this the affirmations gratitude series. There are more designs than this. I just picked the ones that or the phrases that resonated with me, because I will be journaling in these over the next few months, and these are the phrases that I love. But there's more phrases available if you go to my author page on Amazon, and all of these have that same layout. So there's this affirmations gratitude journal. Next, now this is called a HIFS tracker. So I'm Muslim, as it says on my bio, and so I made these journals for my Muslim sisters who are working on their Quran study and Quran memorization. And this is a very simple tracker. What I have found that works for me is when I create a grid for myself, and for each verse or ayat that I memorize, I would put a reminder word in the square as a mental note for myself on like a mnemonic device of sorts. And then as soon as I do have that memorized, I put a check mark at the bottom of the square. So it's very simple, but since there are so many grids and there are so many pages, you could literally memorize hundreds of verses before you fill up this little book. And I created a floral pattern for these two because I wanted it to be very feminine and very soft. So I really love these two. Again, the B6 size, and there's 4 designs. I chose the 2 that I love the most and that I'm personally going to use. And I'll leave these here because I also made, again, for my Muslim sisters, tadabbur journals. And these journals, they're in an A5 size, so they're a little bit bigger, but they were in coordinating patterns to the Hifz journal. So something like this would make a really nice gift set for Muslim sisters, either to buy for themselves or buy for their friends when they're doing their Quranic study. So the Hifz is for memorization, and the tadabbur is for the reflection. So people do Bible journaling, and we would do, Muslims that is, would do Quran journaling. And the way I've set this layout is the way that I personally do my own Quran journaling and reflections. So I have on the left side the surah or ayats, and that would be the verse and chapter in layman's terms. Whether the revelation period was either the Meccan period or the Medinian period, you could write the verse in Arabic. Then in English, you write the tafsir. So this is the exegesis or meaning behind the verse, if there is further exposition into it. Vocabulary, and this is for if you're learning Arabic, you could do like the Arabic words and what the English translation is. Then your notes and reflections, whether there's an application or connection to your life. And then a dua or prayer that you can also apply to that whole, to that ayat or verse that you studied. And again, I have this grid where you can put the date and the date, the month, day of the week, and the day, so that you can, challenge yourself to do it maybe every day or every couple of days, and you can really see how your level of understanding is progressing as you continue to do this. In this book, I have done a sample layout so you can see exactly like what my methodology was. And I'm not going to say that I'm the only person that does this methodology, but this has been the methodology that has consistently worked for me and that I've done consistently for I'd say maybe a little over 2 years now. So these are the sections that are always in my notes, and I thought that for beginners and maybe even people that are not necessarily beginners but want a little bit more form and structure in their notes, to have this to fall back on. So and then I also have a how to use this book note and a letter to the user. So I'm really proud of this collection in particular. Is kind of passion project of mine, and like I said, the journals match each other, so they would make a really lovely gift. These are ones that I think I'm going to keep. This one I'm going to give this to a friend, and then I also really love this design, so I'm keeping this design as well. It really is wonderful when you can kind of create something for yourself and then order it and use it. I love that. Next, I'm going to downsize again. We're going to talk about the A6 size. A6 is not a planner size that I have a lot of experience with. One year, I believe it was 2020, I was in an A6 for a month, for the month of Ramadan, and I created a special planner for myself for that month. And it was in a traveler's notebook. I will see if I can put some pictures of it somewhere in this video, somewhere. So bear with me on that. I appreciate your patience. But I enjoyed the size, the type of planner traveler's notebook cover that it was. It was made of a like a very stiff leather, and because it was so stiff, it was a little bit hard to use the booklets, and I found myself having to take them out a lot. This year, I do want to experiment again with that size, and I have an A6. So I have an A6. This is another like vintage print pression size A6 notebook that I received. Actually, like I think this was my very first print pression cover, and I got it at because I was sitting at Print Pression's sponsored table at the Sugary Gal Shop planner conference, her first conference in maybe it was 2018, and so this is very it's a lot looser. I think it would be more comfortable to work in, and for the summer I wanted to experiment with this size as I round out the year and think about what my setup will be for 2024. I know we have a lot of time, but if you think about it, it may take like 1 or 2 months for you to get into your comfort zone with a planner. So I think that if you want to experiment, now would be a good time, because then you're not rushing and you're making any big investments at the end of the year. So for the A6 size books, I have a couple. I can load them in here, carry them around, maybe do some artwork with them, and see if an A6 is something that I can work with. What planner do I have for A6? I have a few of these. It's a very simple 1 month planner. In my current B6, I do 1 month at a time, and I thought it would be really fun to do a kind of like a minimal Hobonichi Midori type of layout where I can figure out what items am I tracking weekly, what items am I tracking daily. Do I need to have like a very structured daily, weekly layout, or can I go with these minimal layouts that I see all over Pinterest and kind of bullet journal my way across a month? So this is what this A6 planner is. It's a very minimal setup, so I can, it's undated. I can do any month. Then I go into weekly views, and I purposely had this here so I can kind of like make a dashboard if I wanted to. And the weekly view, it looks like a week's layout with, you have 7 sections on one side. They do have a very light grid. That's because I want to be able to write across the line. I know a lot of layouts have these boxes are plain with no grid spacing and no dot spacing whatsoever. I enjoy a dot grid, and I'm experimenting with the regular grid now, but I don't want the grid lines to be too dark. So on the other side, we have just a space with a very light dot grid, not a dot grid, a very light grid. Then I go into daily pages. Again, I have this blank page so that I can create a dashboard within the book. And then I have about 40 blank daily pages. And the things I definitely like to have are my weather. So I would put my temperatures in here and then have a little vibe check. So I thought this was a nice like entry level testing ground that I can put inside this um, this case, and I can tuck it in my bag and take it out and plan and see how that goes. The other A6 sizes that I have are my tea and coffee tasting journals. I had done these back in May as we were getting into spring and what I like to call tea and coffee shop season, where sidewalk cafes open, tables come out, and we're sitting and sipping our coffee and people watching. I enjoy coffee quite a bit. I do brew my coffee at home, but I did enjoy trying new bean blends, grinding my own beans, doing the whole process, and tasting. And what I had done was record all those things in a coffee journal that I made, and I thought it would be nice to have it in a little bit more of a structured format with the binding. And this is something that I can keep in my A6 as I'm either having coffee outside if I do, or I can still do my coffee at home and record the process and what type of coffee it was. And maybe I can even find new brewers, new companies, and expand my horizons a little bit more there. I have, sorry, I was showing you the tea as I was talking about coffee, but basically there's the coffee and there's the tea. For the tea journal, it's the same thing that I said for when I was talking about coffee. I love loose leaf teas. I love bagged teas as well, and I like discovering new teas. I have a really nice teapot that will steep your tea for a number of minutes depending on what type of tea that it is, and I do enjoy the process of figuring out what the perfect temperature is for the type of tea and what the steep time should be, and I like recording that as well. Coffee and tea equally, I think. Depending on the time of day, I would choose one over the other, and these would fit very well into that A6 book. We talked about commonplace books before. I thought it would be cool to have a commonplace book myself. Again, one that I have in my bag, and maybe it's a type of brain dump or ideas journal. If I don't want to have it in my bag, it's something that I could again fit into my A6 Travelers cover. And you see these are 4 books and they fit in really nicely. So I have commonplace books available on Amazon that I can order at my leisure, and I think they're about 80 pages each. One is a very light dot grid. I made it very light purposely because I wanted to be able to draw in it, and the other one is the grid. But again, very light because I didn't know if I wanted to draw in it or not. But I love the size. I really love the pattern that I picked for these. I wanted them to look a little 70s-ish with the vibe. I mean, with the design. It's kind of a retro-looking floral print, and even the fonts that I chose, it's kind of like this gothic print. It reminds me of a 70s luxe type of feel, and the covers are very soft. So I will be experimenting with those this summer as well. Back into a larger book. This is a layout that I've been in before. I'm familiar with it. I was thinking about going back to it, and so I'm experimenting with it a little bit more. This is a vertical layout planner that I've done where we have 12 months. So this is what the monthly page looks like. And then we have 6 weeks between each month, so to account for overflow. And the weeks are vertical. But I also included, instead of a sidebar, this floral panel because I thought it would be a nice activity to color in that floral panel, either with these crayons or maybe markers or colored pencil every month. Every week. And then there's a flag, so you could put week of, etc. This layout I have been in. I used to use a vertical weekly only. And then that planner it just stayed home because it was so large, and I just had a planner at work, like a daily that was on my desk, and I didn't really carry a planner with me in between work and home. But since my life is different now and I have the B6 that I travel with, it's just exclusively, it's that one planner that rules them all. I don't know that I will be using this particular type of layout for myself, but it is available for anyone that's interested. And I might think about using it for something like homeschooling during the school year. It would be really helpful to have the things that we worked on per subject listed out by day. So that's a possible idea that I'll maybe explore over the next few weeks as we're going into summer. And I did explore with a couple of notes and things to experiment with it. So that's why you see it's already a little filled out there. Speaking of homeschooling and I suppose school in general, I have academic planners. And these I really love. Like, I love the artwork, I love the size, and where I'm not sure whether I would use this for homeschooling, I'm almost positive that I'm going to use one of these for my homeschooling this coming fall. And in fact, since they are dated from July to June, or July 2023 to June 2024, I may start using one as early as next week when July starts. We don't homeschool during the summer, but what I do is during the summer I'm doing planning for next year, and typically it takes me about a month to get my curriculum together. And the curriculum could be things like, what books we're going to use, what my schedule is going to be. I really do plan out my schedule for the year in advance. So it's not something where I'll do some planning each month as we go. I do plan out the whole schedule because I take it extremely seriously. I think that a lot of homeschool parents feel like they may make a mistake or mess up, and I'm certainly no exception to that. So I want to make sure that we're hitting all of our benchmarks. We have cushion in case somebody gets sick, or there's an unforeseen circumstance, or there's a subject that we may need to spend some extra time on. So in my plan I have safeguards in place for all of those things, and the reason that I have those, or the way that I'm effectively able to have those safeguards in place, is from that month that I'm taking over the summer to plan the year. Maybe I could make a video about how I plan the homeschooling year. If anybody is also a homeschooling parent and is interested in that, let me know in the comments. I would certainly love to answer any questions about that. So these two are academic planners, and one is a 7x9, so it's like maybe an Erin Condren size or a Happy Planner size, and then the other one is an A5, and I really enjoy the A5 size, which is why I made it. And I thought there is something for everyone here, with the size that they use. For me myself, I'm not sure which size I'm going to use, but I will definitely be using one of these because I just love like how bold they are and how fun they are and how the graphics that were chosen. So let's go through these one at a time. I'll go through the A5 ones first. So the A5, I have two designs. This one it has like a coffee cup with some notebooks. There's like some graphic art here. And it says a planner academic year 2023 to 2024. At the beginning, I have the found information page. And then there's again some artwork here. I have the year at a glance for both years, 2023 and 2024. I love these pages because like that graphic pop of black like really speaks to me. I think that what I would do is highlight the days that we're off or holidays, vacation days, just so that I can see that. I think that like this visually looks very crisp. Next, we've got monthly pages, and again, like I said with my other planner, I do kind of like separating it out with kind of a dashboard page, and this is what I chose. I envision maybe adding a little bit more stickers and decorations to this as I begin using it, and maybe tabbing it out as well so that I can kind of thumb to the page that I need much more quickly. And then I could make a video on that as well, once I decide which planner I'm using, doing like a homeschool planner setup. That would be fun. Then we go into monthly pages. So I put all the monthly pages together. And monthly, what I would do is just kind of put some benchmarks for lessons that we're on, the week of school that we're on, and the month. It's a Sunday through Saturday month. So there are 12 pages of that, again, starting from July. I'm just going quickly. So from July till June, and that's the last month that we have. And there's the pages, there's space, rather, for notes on the bottom. And it is, again, a very light grid because I wanted to be able to write in a straight line, but not having the grid be too overpowering on the page. Then we go into weekly pages. So again, the bold graphic there to separate the sections. And each of the weekly pages are all together. They're all the same. This is a vertical layout. And there's about like half a page per day. So we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I did it this way because for us, our heavy work days are Monday through Thursday. Friday, we have half a day of school, but it's also very like busy in terms of extracurriculars and things like that. We go to the mosque on Friday, and then after the mosque, it's just like social time. And then Saturday, Sunday is the weekend. I did want to have that together, but I didn't want to sacrifice any space for Saturday and Sunday because they could as well be very full days in terms of family gatherings, extracurricular activities, outings, things like that. And then I had a space for assignments. I have a sidebar for whatever you want, to-dos, maybe a meal plan. Though I will be using this as a homeschool planner, I wanted it to be good for anybody that's either maybe they're teaching, they're using it as a homeschool planner, maybe they're a teacher and they're using it for their academic year, or maybe they're a student and they're using it for their academic year. So I wanted it to be very flexible. I also included, for our readers out there, a book tracker. I would love to be able to read one book a week. Usually I do. I shouldn't say I would love to do that. but I would like to read consistently, and I don't want to read in fits and starts. I usually will read in fits and starts. Maybe I won't read for 3 weeks, and then 1 week I'll read like 10 books. And I would love to just be a little bit more measured and balanced in reading. And so I wanted to have a reading tracker. But I think that a reading tracker would be great for people who would also love to read at least 1 book a week or something like that. And it's a very simple reading tracker here with, you could put the name of the book, maybe how many chapters you read, what date you finished, and do a rating. And that way you could look back at the end of the year and say, wow, like I read all these books. I read 1 book a week. I thought that was kind of a cool feature. Then we have the the month at a glance here for reference, so that you wouldn't have to turn to the monthly page if you just wanted to check or double check a date. So there's all the weeks. At the back, I had an area that I called collections and trackers, and these are things that I thought would be helpful to me, as well as people that are students, maybe teachers, maybe people that are doing continuing education or online learning or any of those activities. And these collections are online classes. I take quite a few online classes, so does my child, and sometimes with the online classes there's a lot of information that's up in the air. We do some classes where the forum is WhatsApp, and some classes where the forum might be Google Classroom, and maybe some classes where the forum is on the class website itself. So having this in 1 book would be helpful to me. I imagine it would be helpful to other people too. Back to reading and reading goals. We were tracking the books on the week. I thought it would be helpful to have a little books completed couple of pages so that you could color them in. And I included quite a few pages for that, for those more voracious readers. And I wanted it to be big so that maybe even children could do it, track their reading as well. Then book lists, like more books to read. I get quite a few recommendations for books to read, and say rather than putting it in your commonplace book or your brain dump book, I think a more focused area to put them in would be in some type of reading journal or reading list, so that when you're looking for that book to read or you want to buy that book, you can go there and see it. Last, there's a couple of pages of blank notes, and people can do whatever they wish with those. So that is the A5 academic planner, and then I had the same in just a slightly different cover design. And I think that this cover design, it's and the cover, like the back cover, also has a design. I think this looks more like work, so maybe this would be more for teachers, maybe this one for students. So those are the 2 designs for A5. Now I will show the bigger designs. We have, this was 7x9, so it's like an Erin Condren or Happy Planner type of size. These are like the large plus size planners, but the way that I've configured it is so that it's not so large. This would maybe be like a composition notebook, so even though it's large in terms of length and width, it's not too big, and I don't think it would be too much for somebody to say carry in their school bag every day. And there's a possibility I might use this one instead of the A5. I'm not sure yet. I will be doing some experimentation. So both of these layouts are the same. Just the cover design is different, and the back covers do have a design. So the first one says Planner Academic Year 2023 to 2024. It shows like a fun handwriting font. We've got the notebooks and the coffee. It's the same as that, the A5 one. I just really love this design so much. I used it twice. And then the back has the coffee with the notebooks, some doodles, and again, it's the same as the A5 version. The other planner has Don't Call It a Dream, Call It a Plan, academic year July 2023 to June 2024, with some doodles and like some watercolors. And the design on the back has the laptop and some school supplies. There's some donuts. And I thought that was like really fun and lighthearted design. In the front, we have the information for if this gets lost. Then there's a front graphic, and then we go into the year at a glance. So again, you know, I love that bold look. I feel like the dates are very easy to see, and I would highlight dates, important dates, vacation dates, etc. Then we're going into monthly pages, and the monthly page it's a calendar across 2 pages. I think I like this one more. It's just slightly wider, but like I enjoy the wide boxes. Maybe I'll take this planner out again, the A5, so you can kind of compare what the monthly page looks like. It's the same layout, but you just get a wider box due to the real estate that you have for that notebook size. And on the bottom you have the notes, and again, a very light grid, so it's not impeding on your notes that you have. You want your notes to take center stage, not the design of the paper. So we have 12 months again, and then after the 12 months we go into weekly pages, and there's the graphic, and then we have, this is more like a standard vertical weekly. I put the week of, and then you have the date, and those dates change based on the week that it is. I thought that would be a helpful bookmark or a helpful reference for people. And then I kept it pretty plain. There's some areas at the bottom so that people could put notes, and then there is the calendar at a glance, so you could see what day it is, or look at the calendar without having to thumb through to the beginning of the book. And then this one, it's really just the weekly calendar and the monthly calendar. I had not included the collections. And then the second planner is the same. It's the same exact layout as this one, just the cover design is different. So those are the academic planners. And then we are nearly done. I have a small collection of standard traveler's notebooks. Now I really enjoy the standard traveler's notebook size a lot. In fact, I use this size for my journaling, and I would say almost exclusively, probably exclusively. For the past year and a half, my journaling, my daily journaling, my art journaling has been in a standard traveler's notebook. All of my monthly challenges that I do with that I had done with either New York City Planner Addicts or with Cella Creates has been in a standard size notebook, so I'm really comfortable with this size for journaling. Not so much with my planning, and these planners had come about with me wondering if I could consider going into a standard traveler's notebook for next year, for 2024. So to that end, I created a few planners to play with. The first two, these are weekly planners. There were a couple of different designs. These are the two that that I've chosen to bring home and play with me, but there's a few others. They're mostly florals on the Amazon website. So it is a weekly planner, and it's half a year. So it's from July to December of 2023. So I can start experimenting with this next week. And the layout is very simple. We open to the If Found page. Then we have from July to December. We have a year at a glance. This is not as bold and graphic as the one that we saw with the academic planners, but I still think that with the fonts and with the prints, you can see the information pretty clearly. Again, I don't tend to use this page a lot. I might just highlight important dates and that's it. Then we go into the monthly section. We have the July month, and I'll just have all the months are together, so July through December. There's some notes or there's some space at the bottom for notes. These notes I chose a dot grid. The dot grid is what I usually use, and I wasn't really, beyond the size, I wasn't willing to experiment that much more with the layout or anything, so that's why I chose the dot notes and not the grid for this one. And after the months, we start going into weekly pages. So again, we have the weekly page, and the weekly page it's set up like almost like a week's, but it's kind of flipped because and I'll go into, I'm going to open my V6 planner, because I have my weekly page that I've, oh, it's upside down. I have my weekly page that I've been using for like 8 or 9 months now, and the way that it is has not really changed, and I love how it's set up. In my weekly planner, I have kind of like notes are here, and then the weekly overview, like the Monday through Sunday, is on the right hand side. So that's why I set up this planner like that. So I have like an area for notes and to-dos and like overviews and maybe just some checklist items, and then the week with the actual days and appointments will be on the right hand side. I have an empty space here with a very light gray outline, and that is because I love using full it's called a full box sticker. I love using those quote boxes in my planner, and I thought that would be a great way to use that sticker, so that every time you open to the week, you have like that guiding quote, or maybe an affirmation or something, a thought, a picture, to inform what your week looks like, and then go into the planning and look at your appointments. And I thought that this would be kind of a cool way to plan out my week. The yellow planner's the same, and what my thought process was that I could use this in a standard traveler's notebook along with another notebook behind it for my daily plans and my daily journals. So I have something like this. This is a paper house notebook. It used to be an A5 size, but as you can see from this half a sticker on the back, I have taken it to Staples and cut it down to a standard traveler's notebook size. And it's just a dot grid notebook. I thought something like this paired with the standard sized weekly planner would be a great system to carry around. It may be a little bit smaller than my B6, but still be big enough to hold the essentials. And this is something that I will experiment with over the summer. And these were the two covers that I love, but as I have these in my hands, I really am gravitating toward this one with the purples, and it kind of doesn't match exactly, but it's kind of juxtaposed with this one, because this has the black background with the purples and the pinks, and this is the white background with the purples and the pinks. So I will give an update as to how that planner system works. And then the second one, it has the same layout. It's blue with yellow. Yellow is my favorite, and I think the blue is a great complement to that. I may give this to a friend, to a planner friend. And then we're almost done. Thank you for hanging out with me. The other idea was to use this planner, the weekly planner, and pair it with a 1-month planner / journal. And what that 1-month planner / journal looks like, it's also a standard size, so they could fit together nicely in the standard size traveler's notebook cover. This one is, so I have, like, this is undated, so I could potentially like pick up 1-month planner journal like every month and put it in with this week's, and do my same planner, switcheroo every month. Since it's undated, I could date the monthly calendar, and then I just have dated. They're not dated. It's not dated. It's in sequential order. I have a number here. So I have numbered pages. That's what I want to say. Numbered pages from 1 to 31 in this book. And it's just dot grid. I can do whatever I want. I have a sidebar where I can put my weather, my vibe check, how much sleep did I get, how much water did I drink. These, I don't track these much now, but they are important to me, so I would like to track them. Then I have some to-dos. I have that box from my full box sticker. And then I have, this is about maybe 2/3 of a page, and then this is the full page of dot grid space, so I have room to roam. I can do whatever I want. Maybe it's a little bit of art journaling and my daily schedule. I can experiment with this a little bit, and this could be a possible setup. The weeks with the daily, and then this is another version of the same design. So the layout inside this is the same, but the cover is different. And I did label these, so this says day on 2 pages, 31 days undated. It's a 1-month planner journal, and those are, so that's that design. And if I did this, I could potentially, I might be able to fit 3 books in a standard, though I tend not to do that. Maybe I could, I don't know. What I've done in the past is I would have two journals in there, and I would be journaling on both of them. So we will see. There will be a lot of experimentation this summer, and I'm really excited about it, because I think that the best way to know yourself is to, stretch your boundaries a little bit in a healthy way. My last one is for 2024. So in the spirit of launch, planners launching and planning ahead, this is a 2024 standard traveler's notebook. It is in the same layout as the one that we just looked at, that weekly for the half year, July through December. And this is just in a yearly format. The fonts are a little bit different because I do love to experiment with different fonts and see what, what design kind of touches me in a different way. So we have an area for you to write your information, 2024 planner, year at a glance. And this is, I kind of like this layout. It's just very big. On the other one, the July through December, I did kind of have the 2 years there, so that's why it's a little bit smaller. But I don't think this is bad. I just think that there's more information. And where here I just have the 1 year. It's just 2024. Then we have monthly pages. So I have January through December, so I can quickly tab through these. And then I have weekly pages. And then this is like a very minimal weekly setup. It is different from my weekly setup where mine, there are more delineated spaces for each of the days, plus the notes, plus to-dos and the box and the calendar. This one, I did not include to-dos. I just have like a very open space. So again, room to roam. And then just a very simple delimiter between the days. So I think you have a little bit more space to write that way. And we have the little calendar at a glance. And there is a light box for the full box sticker. Or maybe you could put those habit tracker stickers or quarter boxes, or an affirmation or handwrite something. I think that with this very minimal spread, there's a lot of possibilities for ways that you can use it. And at the top, I just have that header for the week that it is, which is helpful for me. Like if I'm not using a lot of washi for decorating, I have been using a lot of stickers for my planning, but other than that, my planning has been very minimal. It's really a lot of note taking, and it's interesting to see that planner journey because that is how I started out. I was just doing plans and kind of punctuating the plans with a sticker, and then I did move over to washi and so many things, and now I've just kind of taken a step back and gone back to that older style of planning. Maybe not older, but a little like wiser style of planning. And it's exciting. It's exciting to see my progression and how things are working out. So I'm just like bringing all of the books back here so I can do my little wrap up. This was very fun for me to present how I've created these. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I would love to know what are your plans for the next couple of months. Do you think about changing up your style over the summer? Is summer considered like real life for you, or is it a time of exploration and creativity and journeying and growing? Thank you for spending your time with me. I will be back soon with the setup of July. I have this packet on my desk, and I'm really excited to do the unboxing of this month's planner subscription. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about homeschooling, like I said before, or planning or anything at all. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.